Here. Here. Here.
Steve.
Here. First item on the agenda is approval of the December 9th meeting minutes. We haven't had a meeting since then.
I second those.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. First item in new business would be the subdivision request. And you're our first subdivision request, so it's a new town zoning. We haven't had that before. It's new, so if you could introduce yourself, appreciate it. Yes.
Pre-existing, roughly 7-acre lot. He's proposing to subdivide into two parcels. With no improvements at this time.
Okay.
I think you'll find that it should conform to zoning. Aside from that, show the wetlands on there, show your setbacks on there as well.
This is vacant land, correct?
Correct.
And you don't have you're not proposing any building at this point?
No.
Okay. Okay. So that if you're not proposing any building, then the stormwater pollution plan will remain unchanged because you're not modifying the property at all then, right? Okay. Because there is a wetland on the property, but you're not
Yeah, there's a
making any
sizable pond
changes.
to the north that's what it covers.
So the map, everybody got the map there? The total lot that you're, prior to subdivision was, how many acres?
Should be right in the middle and with a bit of a dash text. That'll give you the tax count number.
Oh, there you go, yep. So 7.2 acres, and you're gonna make one 2.8 and one 4.3. Okay.
So they're aware that it's.
Bridget's here to help us. She's help us through this because we haven't had this. So,
Sure.
um, so I guess the next order would be to make either recommendation. True?
Is this on? Yeah, so first you guys can decide to waive the stormwater pollution prevention plan. I recommend waiving, but I think the board should vote on that.
Okay.
It is a minor subdivision, so we can let him know he doesn't need to do any other plans than what was provided, and then just they'll go through it, but we do have to go through seeker. It's going to be unlisted, so they're going to start the seeker process, and then next month we'll do a public hearing, and they can probably decide on the permit at that next meeting. So first just vote on the waiver of that requirement.
Okay. So since the modifications that
No, I do recommend it because they're not proposing construction at this time, so it's just remaining vacant.
All in favor? Carries. So the next would be the
Classification. An unlisted action.
okay, so the first resolution.
Is this in the ag district presently or not?
It is in the ag district, yes.
I mean, not the ag district as in zoning, I mean the farmland protection ag district.
It itself is a really lot orders.
I have that map, I was talking about the. Correct.
I'm not sure, is that even posted online?
Yes. Get through it through the Orleans County site. Navigable. This doesn't affect what we're doing here, but it might affect you in the future as far as getting a water hookup or whatever.
You think it's on just the county site?
Why don't you continue with what you were doing, Tom, now, if I can come up with that.
Okay.
Brought up about because that again was because that's one of the questions I had highlighted was number 10 will propose, connect to an existing public water supply that's right out of that thing and then so they have to tell. Maybe that is figure going out to the kind of what it's going to be.
This is like fluid, like type situation, which I'm gathering,
Yep.
that might want to be something that's put on a minor site subdivision or in the future, because I usually just go through the checklist that you're going to provide it. And I'll just apply what's being done here tonight, but I mean, obviously, if it's one of those things that has to be addressed, then I will do my level best to find that on the website.
So this is the resolution we're gonna have to read for any of these coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have to create one of these for everyone.
Yeah, the only time it would change is if they're like also doing site plan and they're constructing, but this one's just the straightforward subdivision, no constructing. So then, yeah, we would use, this.
I'll go through these. Everybody's done with questions. So the Town of Berry Planning Board resolution that the proposed subdivision 0 and 13799 Wesley Road, tax map number 94.00-001-0 subject to seeker and classifying consideration action as an listed action. Whereas on or about March 13th, Richard Meyer, sorry. Land surveyor sponsored for Delsey Properties. The applicant submitted an application for subdivision review to be located at 0 Wesley Road and 13799 Wesley Road. The proposed action, and whereas the proposed action involves subdividing a vacant lot into 2 lots, whereas on March 17th, 2025, the applicant prepared a short environmental assessment form for the proposed action. And whereas the proposed action does not meet the requirements of either a type 1 or type 2 action under seeker. And now therefore, the planning board of the town of Barry hereby declares itself lead agency for the purposes of seeker review. And therefore, the planning board further resolves that the proposed action is classified as an unlisted action under seeker. That means no seeker because there's no change, correct?
No, that would be a type 2. Unlisted action does mean you're taking an action on a property. It just doesn't fall under the type 1. Type 1, you'd have to do like coordination with property owners, and type 1 makes you, for in layman's terms, a lot more work. Unlisted just means it's not listed as a type 1, it's not listed as a type 2, but you're taking an action on it. So then we just have to do a public hearing, and then you guys would decide if it's a negative declaration or positive declaration at the next meeting. But we do have to do action on it.
Okay, so we need a motion on this resolution. Seekers at the next meeting.
Yes, to complete seeker at the next meeting. Yep. So this starts it, and you set the public hearing, and then you do the public hearing next meeting. You complete seeker, and then you can also decide on the permit at the next meeting. So all of that's at the following meeting.
It appears on this map, which I'm not sure is current, that it is not. You better do better. Well,
It's not germane to this, it's fine, but if I know it's on the website, then I know where I can find it.
screw up your sheet.
Sure. Okay, great.
I think there was a motion, so
Yep.
we just need. Okay.
Okay. Resolution. So this one is to set a public hearing for the proposed subdivision of 0 and 13799 West Lee Road. Whereas on or about March 13th, Richard Mayer, land surveyor for Delsey Properties, the applicant submitted an application for subdivision review to be located at 0 Wesley Road and 13799 Wesley Road. The proposed action, and whereas the proposed action involves subdividing a vacant lot to 2 lots, whereas on April 14th, the planning board of the town of Berry classified the action as an unlisted action. Therefore, the planning board of the town of Berry hereby resolves to hold a public hearing on May 12th at 6:30. So we need a motion. Second. Favor? Opposed? That carries. So just so we can write down the process one more time, so we know what we gotta do.
Yep.
We're gonna have the public hearing in May,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And
After-
then, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
after
cut
that,
you
we
off.
will do the seeker,
Yep.
and then we'll application.
if it sounds like all the board's questions, but if you do have any questions or need anything more, now is the time. So the next meeting, you guys are ready to vote on that stuff.
The public hearing is gonna be on May 12th.
Just
which
your
is
May
at our
meeting.
next meeting. At our next meeting.
I'll just assume that the copies that are here now are enough. I don't need to submit any more. Mine, if this does get approved at the next meeting, I'll you're happy. I just want to make sure I'm prepared. I didn't come with my way. So I should be ready.
Under their law, you're a minor subdivision, so they can use everything you supplied at the preliminary plat. Um, you're gonna need the more formal documents eventually, so if you want to get them, you can, but they can accept these, and that'd be enough for the May meeting. Oh, then that's a code enforcement officer question, but we can get back to you.
Just like to know what else we can bring next meeting, correct?
That's all.
Okay.
I can make one more trip.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll double check on that and I'll get back to you.
We have to sign those, we're gonna have to sign the survey map, is that correct? Because it's gonna get filed at the clerk's office, right? So we'll do that.
I
and
can
vote on it.
check the code right here and just get back to it. I can just put it up in front of me.
Probably have to.
So did you go to the county first and they send you here?
Well, this is really, I know it's new to you guys, it's new to me too. I do a bunch of work in Orleans County, and I do stuff like this in Orleans County, but never once was it ever a requirement outside of maybe Kendall that the planning board process would happen. Obviously, you live in Monroe County, and that you just, anytime you do anything, it is a process. So, I was under the impression when I was contacted with them, and that was before I actually, I did call after I was contacted by them. They found out this is all new. But typically, I just would do up the names, man.
Well,
This is all new.
the question was, who sent you here?
Actually, it was me that called
Okay.
to see what the process is because I knew I was going to be doing this. And he made contact with Jared, and I said, okay, fine. And then he gave me the 411. I didn't know that Jared would be the lead. I just came up there one day, saw the growth, and they didn't know what I was doing. That's not good. So, I left the maps that I had. Part of it was how much would the application be? And then Jerry coming back said, yeah, so my next trip out here doing the survey, I just went in and dropped it off. Seeing what the program is here and what you guys are, how you guys are going to up it. So it's familiarity at this point.
That's a good question. I know where you're going with that.
Right.
We're just trying to figure out specific. They would have told you you had to come to us to do this on Town, whether that they thought of that, that it wasn't part of.
It was just my own due diligence. When the gentleman called me to do it.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
the only contact I have with the county is the county clerk's office. I'm pretty sure. Or I think we'll take 3 copies of the map. to put on record. But, when the gentleman called me to do this, I said, well, let me, my basis, because I didn't give him a price on how to do this. And, that's how we went down that rabbit hole.
And I think, Bridget, you probably could answer this, but if this didn't happen with the surveyor, licensed land surveyor, like he is, it could have been somebody just going to the county, file a new tax map, and they would have alerted us, they would have alerted that person that in the town of Berry, there's a subdivision law, they would have sent it back to the town, correct?
Probably, yeah. That is how it should work theoretically. And the county has seen
They're
our
aware.
law, they've commented on it, so I mean, they know you have one.
But you were ahead of it, so,
Well, I was ahead of it because I knew Kendall was doing it,
yeah.
but that was just my own. Oh, dumb, I wouldn't call it my due diligence.
Yep. Just a couple other things quick I didn't mention, but this is a minor subdivision. So he didn't need to submit a final plan. He could just use what he already submitted, and then the lot sizes that have been proposed, they do comply with our zoning. Good. So we're good with that one then, right?
See you next month.
Yep.
Awesome, thanks.
Great. Thank you.
If, sorry, you are good. If you give me like 2 minutes, I can maybe answer those questions just while you're here. But otherwise, you don't have to stay.
Anybody there? Yes, okay. Let me turn the volume up. There we go.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is Bay Brothers East Berry Cell Tower Special Use Permit Modification and Site Plan.
Money fit for sale. Papers that a lot of here. Possible that actually back, basically back here. How I have. Planners.
What can you tell us about if you could, tell us a little bit about in the description, it identifies a few things that are gonna be changed. The first one is the antenna, which that's gonna be added at 190 feet, you said? At 90 feet, okay. And then the next one is, 4 RFUs. I'm not sure what a RFU is.
It's just a radio.
Okay. And then lastly is a NEMA box attached to the existing tower at 195 feet, so that's gonna be mounted up high, is that right?
The needle will be mounted. The
Yeah, just bear with us a second if you could. We're trying to find our checklist that we have for these so we can just go through here they are. Okay. So the structural analysis, you have provided that, right? Okay. And it lists, yeah, here's the summary of it. And it does say that based on our analysis, we have determined the tower stress levels sufficient capacity. Okay. That was that was done by Crown Castle. Yep.
Okay.
And we require inspection certificates every 2 years on file with the town. Any problem with that? And then proof of bond and 2 estimates for restoration, removal and restoration, which would be carried actually with the tower. They would just need to be modified if needed to address this antenna, but probably not significant enough to require a modification of the bond. But the bond, we have to have proof of the bond, which, do you know if that's been provided?
Yeah. The original stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, just because this is a modification to the special use permit, it would be good to be a check to make sure that the bond is not expired and is active. And then the emergency contact procedures on file here in case there's ever a problem, because typically the folks that own the tower are not nearby. Yeah. And then, just a note that a change of ownership must be on file with the town if the tower's ownership changes. And an acknowledgement and consent letter on file with town and an EMI report. I'm not sure what the EMI report. Okay. So we went through a new process with these last year. I came to the board, and we did end up sending one or two to the county, but they responded and said that was unnecessary. So, is it your opinion we need to hold a public hearing for this, or no?
I don't have application material. I'm not up to date on this. I didn't know it was on the agenda. But I can look.
Is there anybody in the audience tonight that's here for this application?
Need a public hearing for this.
That we determined the last time in our procedure, there would be upon immaterial change as part of the
Right.
federal communications that even why haven't we approved any of this?
Right.
Is our take.
We're just collecting some information here.
Correct.
It's pretty minor modification.
There's nothing else on the ground when they die.
Okay. So we need a motion for this then.
You guys done seeker on it?
We
Is
have
this the
seeker
first?
too.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. True.
Okay, we'll just read down through this quickly, and if I don't hear anything, I'm going to assume a no. Will proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of the use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of critical environment? Will the proposed action result in land use change in traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, and if it fails to incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact the existing public or private water supply, public or private wastewater treatment facilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historical, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in adverse change in control wetlands, water bodies, groundwater? Will the proposed action result in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? The action create sources of human culture. Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Okay, so then the next vote would be on the next proposal is for the site plan. This is a modification of the existing special use.
second.
Favor?
Any other questions on that? Mr. Purcell?
For me,
Okay, thank you. The, that's the end of the new business. The next item on the agenda, the old business, again, the comprehensive plan update review. So the comprehensive plan, the draft copy came to the planning board, and we provided our comments, and we sent those back to the committee. And they got a new draft that's here for us to look at, right? Twenty 25. Right. So if everybody get a chance to look through it.
-3,
1-3?
3-3.
3-3. Okay.
Yep, under historic churches, it's still listed Westbury United Methodist Church. It should just be Westbury Church. It is up there for the pond, but that map doesn't show it that way. Yeah. Historic stuff.
I noticed on 1-2, there's some things that are highlighted that are, not filled in.
Yeah.
Different paragraphs that are still blank. On 1-1, one of the comments that we made previously was that the town's, during the planning process, the last, the third paragraph, the town's previous comprehensive plan has been updated in 17 following the process led by the planning board. And we mentioned this before, that it was actually directed by the town board. Whether or not that's or not, I don't know. on 2-1. I didn't mind. Go ahead. You got it. Okay. 2-1, we had recommended before that we have the importance of identifying what's in the ag district. Somewhere in that paragraph about ag district program, but I don't think that got done.
Well, it was brought up because we were under the assumption, I guess they're applying for it after the fact, that they were gonna get the grant payment. That's how we did this out. And they were supposed to incorporate the ag program more than just identify an ag based on due diligence with the other firms. So, significant or not, that was a big piece of the puzzle of what we were expecting to offset the cost. Was to have formal ag program address more in the comprehensive plan. And maybe it's fine the way it is, and maybe they will get the grant on that. That's been one of those brought up several times. It's never been, either they applied for it or they haven't, or they are. That hurt. See.
I don't know. I think we brought this up before too. Whether or not the current zoning on page 2-2, the fifth bullet says that the planned industrial commercial development district allows all industrial and commercial uses permitted in business and light industrial district, as well as residence constructed before 1997. I don't know if that's true or not. In our zoning.
Sorry to cut in. I should have asked before you guys started. Do you need me for this portion or just the? I'm happy to stay if you want my comments. But. Okay. And then I'll just say I apologize. I didn't know that wireless tower was on, but that's going to be the same process. You know, you do the introduction to seeker, lead agency, and then you'll decide the neg deck or pause deck at the next one. You probably should do a public hearing, but I can check on what we did. But what you did satisfy it because you asked if anyone was here for public comment. But I can, if people want a quick reminder, I can just do a quick email just so you guys have like an easy checklist going forward on what days. But I apologize, I didn't have those application materials in front of me. But what you guys did was fine. But I think maybe it would just help just to do a quick, like this happens on this day, this would happen on the next month, if you guys would like that.
Yeah, if you could do.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Okay, I'll get back to the comp plan, but I just didn't want to be here if you guys didn't need me. Have a good night.
So those two, I'm assuming they're true. But -3 was I'm just going through the comments we have. -3. Map. underneath Albion Central School District, there's a bullet point, there's a map. Map number. And a 3-4. This is 3-4, map 3-4. The zip codes were. And I don't, it doesn't look like it got changed.
Mine isn't until 3-9. Zoning districts. Don't go further than Eagle Harbor Road, so it includes pets. Show that it goes beyond Eagle Harbor Road.
We actually changed that.
Doesn't show it here though.
That's on 3-9. I wanted to bring up another one too. On 3-8, Keeler Construction provided the parcels currently used for or suitable for mining and excavation. I'd like to request that the source not be Keeler Construction. That it just not have a source, or the planning board be the source, because those were identified from the special use permit. And they're not just our
No, correct.
properties, there are other properties in this town that have that too. You had brought up, Steve, on 3-25 about the housing. That looked like it got rectified. It was about the owner occupied units.
Yeah, they got rid of all of our $1,000,000 mansions. And they had about 50 of them in there.
On 3-26, the wording was modified in major industries and employment centers. The wording at number 3, commercial renewable energy projects, was modified like we requested. 3-26.
Workforce.
Yeah, that 3-26 is the old. I got it. So it's on 3-29, and it's bullet point 3, commercial renewable energy projects. On the old, the August 15th draft, we were asking to have the word proposed removed, and it's been modified to reflect that the project is permitted, received a permit. On 320, on the old, on the draft page from August, page 3-33, in reference to cable and broadband, we were asking that the broadband locations be shown. And I think that got done. I think that was something that we recommended, that they have a map that shows the broadband. That's on 336. 3-36. In from August, page 3-34, we just asked that the electricity be clarified, because it does go to Maple Street also. 3-30, or I'm sorry, 3-37. They didn't have, there were some Water District 8 and 9 were missing, and there was no legend for the brown color. And that looks like it got rectified on 3-38. Anybody else got anything? Feel free to jump in. I prepared to do something. 3-40 shows the electric, identifies we have electric in the park. 3-41 added the snowmobile club that was missing and the ATV club. -1 344. 344. building there. Three forty-four. We had, on the August draft on page 4-1, it identified survey results and public comments. There was a question during our review whether that was should or should not be. New draft. Yeah, it's on 4-1 under natural and cultural resources.
There were some on everything else. We decided we didn't need to have comments that could go at the end, that they were gonna put comments in.
So is it our recommendation then that the survey results and public comments be listed somewhere else?
I would say I wouldn't put it with each one here to say, this is what they wanted, this is what they wanted. I would have that at the end. I think that's what we did with the old one. We had survey results that they could read at the end. It wasn't a comprehensive plan. I don't think that that's necessary in the plan. I can see having it in there, that's not a problem, but not with each one here.
So you suggesting is to relocate it.
If they have it in there, yes. I don't know if that's even necessary, but some people it's necessary. But I don't like to see it in the comprehensive plan itself.
Committee's comment that was easier reading. That's what we agree there.
If they were really into it, then they could go back and look.
Here's the deal on these surveys and public opinions. The public didn't ask for a comprehensive plan, or the town board did. And it's supposed to be our mission going forward of what we want. So I wouldn't even put the survey results in. If the board's gonna approve this and we're gonna spend money on the park, I don't wanna hear that 60% of the people didn't want the park. They elected the officials to go in the direction, whether right, wrong, or indifferent. It's supposed to be something, if a new person comes in the area, that you wanna look at the comprehensive plan, get kind of the mission of where the town is going and what they're doing, is my take on it. I don't know. I could be all wrong on it. I don't think it adds anything to it, even on the ones that people support. always people that are gonna be against something. When we discussed that, it was not an opinion, the survey was a fact. And one of the things that I'm wondering. Words that and said that it was an excellent. Don't usually get. That's why we're looking at the survey of facts, not opinion.
The one thing, you talked, the next page, you talked about appendix B, where, and that was one of the tests I was gonna get to, that, where, appendix B, I think has survey, survey,
Yeah, but.
so is appendix B gonna be included then?
At least.
Then let's just put all the survey results in appendix B. Put some of them in, put them up here.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure appendix B would be. But I agree with you. That's I wish that.
It did, in the old, draft on 5-1, there was a. Five dash one, change the. On the old draft on 5-3, we questioned the business, the sewer system improvement. March draft is, doesn't list anything about the. That's.
And then there's also the map on 5-. Still shows the mixed residential, commercial, not yes. I'm sure we put it, yeah.
mention it, appendix B, but you're in the providing the map, but you see under number 3 on 4.1, at the top, next page on 4, 2. Yeah. You don't want that out there. It's in, if you go to the top 4.2. Okay. The first line's underlined.
Who's gonna do the changes? Are we gonna send it back to the comprehensive plan committee, or is it just gonna get? Are we rewriting it, or is what's? It's gonna go to the town board, or it's gotta go before us again to see if the, what we just corrected got corrected. My question is, who's correcting it? So if Barb gets the corrections and then resubmits it to us at the next meeting, then it should go to the town board. I would assume that's what Barb would say.
Town board correct.
Yes.
So we're gonna do the corrections.
Well, someone would have to correct it. They're doing the printing, so they have to do the correction.
However you want to do it. I thought that you would send, you would like to see these corrections to the town board. You know, the town board would discuss it and thought that, you know, we have, I think they're simple corrections, and I think we probably, a lot of it's just kind of typos and looking at the facts. We should probably have those before you the town board.
Correcting and give it to the town board to show it.
Right.
Yeah. We can send, maybe you have to send this to the town board.
John sent an email. John sent an email to the planning board on March 21st, 2025. He said the comprehensive plan committee has submitted a final draft to the town board. I'll pass it along to the planning board for your careful review. And thank you for dedicating your time. Thank you. That's the best message for the future of the town board. Seems like we should respond to that and copy the
Hey, the committee's out. It's either
Say,
Barb's gonna rewrite our corrections in there and then resubmit it to us, or one of us is gonna, which probably wouldn't be. I'm not volunteering.
Let's not get together and we can probably get together. We can do it. Rewrite it. You know, things are. We'll send it to everybody to review.
You're gonna need the survey results.
We need it.
For George, if they're using that as factual, we're gonna have to see them. And go through that, because, you know, I looked over the last, like, the park went from no one wanted it, to the next revision was, they break down what the public would like to see. Why was that in the first, you know what I mean? I want to see what the basis for this was. I mean, if it's all because we said we wanted either all surveys or no surveys, and then creative writing took over of what we're gonna put in. You know, that's what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, they refer to appendix B.
Because they refer to appendix B, we don't see it, so I'm not gonna say that we forward this on until we see appendix B. Yeah, they're all sound the same, whatever.
I agree. We should see appendix B before we make our recommendation, right?
We should also clarify the ag market. Going down that path of trying to get the grant.
was it?
So Wes and I will put a summary of what we talked about here together. We'll send it to everybody to look at. And then from that, get appendix B also, send that to everybody to look at. Then a meeting. That makes sense to everybody?
Or I gotta send her a copy before she comes to the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Right.
When we meet in May, we should have everything, the way we want it. And be able to vote on it, right? Comp plan then? Okay, next on the agenda is the communication with the county planning board.
December's didn't exist.
Yeah.
Canceled December.
Yeah, I got
January.
I got January actually.
2, and 3. And they have not had any in the last time they were 2005. Town of Carlton again, request for 6-month moratorium on battery energy storage systems. And again, because they had nothing in. Town of Ridgeway had an application for rezoning 5 tax parcels with rural residential, and they want to rezone them to general business. They are in the same area as their general business, they're just extending it. There's an applicant that they have that wants to use a garage that's already on the property for repairs. That business should not have been in zone. It was in the improperly zoned for what it was. The previous owner was, I guess, grandfathered in and then just kept running, and they shouldn't have allowed it. But now this new owner's taking it, and so they're going to rezone that. And that was, they gave a long explanation on what their rural residential stands for, and what the general business district is, and what they're going to change. Pretty straightforward. The only other things that closed out the business, there was paint collection, going to be again this year, May 31st. And then the annual land use session will be June 17th. Credits. That is June 17th.
Anything else?
We're here on the first matter, the subdivision of your.
I don't see any problem building a house there. I mean, all the lot sizes are gonna, they comply with the code. Bridget looked at that. As long as the positioning of the house is not like toward one of the lot lines, you need a variance or anything like that. It seems like there should be no problem. Is that what Jared had? Yeah,
There's the reason why.
yeah, unfortunately, you're the first victims of the new subdivision law. But we never had subdivision law until recently, and we were advised by the town attorney and several others that we should have a subdivision law for a lot of different reasons, so.
Subdivision that was going on without.
Yeah, subdivision was taking place and then creating lots that were not desirable for people in the future. So that's why that's the reason for the subdivision law, but I don't know, anybody else gets, but I feel like you're kind of a victim of the system. Fortunately, right? Yeah.
You have to publish it so far, so many, and you have to publish so many times. You have to publish it. You have it the next week, it has to be 2 weeks. 10 days. Right, right. Okay.
You shouldn't have to come to the planning board for a building. Well, the subdivision makes it what you're in.
They probably give you permit till this is set up. And really, it's just nothing stopping it being approved that we can see. But well,
Yeah, that's on the other. Just a small, very corner of that.
The whole piece, then you don't have to divide it.
full approved some lots. First one.
Yeah. But I mean, if providing the public hearing, nobody comments, then you'll have approval and you should be able to, are you gonna close on the property after that? Is that the plan? Wait, I don't see any, I mean, I don't think anybody else here sees any problem with it going through. It shouldn't be, it's just a formality now. Sorry. We get any recommendation?
First I've heard about it. Say that they're working on it.
Well, we haven't had meetings January, February, March, so.
Move we adjourn.
To do that.
Yeah, when was this submitted?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
When was it? All in favor? Yeah, March.
So I was gonna say if it was February, then.
January come from? I've been talking to Jared since January.
It's a little bit light out.
Like here.